Hey guys, how you doing today? Hope you're doing great. I'm doing great. We're in Nashville, Tennessee, about 10 o'clock in the morning, and we're getting ready to go into Nudie's Honky-tonk. And I want to tell you a little bit about him before we go in so we can appreciate the incredible clothing that we're getting ready to see. If you were to go down the street here to the Country Music Hall of Fame, there's one man's influence you'd see more than anyone else. And it's not the father of country music, Jimmie Rodgers, or the first king of country music, Hank Williams. It's the work of a Ukrainian refugee from Kiev by the name of Nudie Cohn. He created his flamboyant, rhinestone, bedazzled, colorful, embroidered nudie suits for celebrities like Elvis, Hank Williams, Graham Parsons, John Wayne, Cher, Ronald Reagan, ZZ Top, Elton John, Porter Wagoner, Robert Mitchum, Glenn Campbell, Gene Autry, Johnny Cash, Tammy Wynette, Robert Redford, and the Monkees. That's just to name a few. Go to Graceland in Memphis, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or many museums that covered the silver screen cowboys of the '50s, and you'd find evidence of the importance of Nudie Cohn. In 1913, he was sent away from his home by his parents, who'd hoped to save their kids from the frequent Ukrainian pogroms. At 11 years old, the only skills he'd learned from being a tailor's apprentice. His father was a bootmaker who felt that the garment business would hold more promise for his son than his own trade would. When the young boy arrived at Ellis Island, his last name was shortened to Cohen because the immigration officer couldn't pronounce or write his name, so Nudie was listed on the papers and it stuck. He came to New York with his older brother Julius, who was interested in girls and kind of left Nudie to fend for himself. In the early years of the United States, he would go to watch movies in the old westerns. He idolized the cowboys he watched on the big screen. And it was during those hours spent watching his silver screen heroes that he realized there was something missing from their costumes by the frontier gunslingers and outlaws. In the 30s, Cohen was doing what everybody else was during the Great Depression. He was roaming the country looking for work. He'd done odd jobs like shining shoes, tailoring, and even trafficked narcotics, a job that landed him in Leavenworth. When he was released, his path down the straight and narrow led him to a boarding house in Minnesota where he met Bobby Kruger. The two married in 1934, had one child, Barbara, and moved to New York City where they started their first business called Nudies for the Ladies. In the 40s, they relocated to Hollywood and set up shop in the garage of their home, making garments for everybody in Hollywood, from actors to showgirls. Then, in a fitting twist of fate, the cowboys Cohen had grown up with and idolized, they started calling him, and he became the best-known tailor of country western singers, who was making their way through California. By the end of the decade, Cohen had the reputation as the area's premier tailor for country wear and opened Nudies of Hollywood on the corner of Vinland and Victory in North Hollywood. Out of his store, he did it all, from three-piece suits to the more traditional Western shirts he had popularized by singing cowboys like Gene Autry and Roy Rogers. Rogers was so impressed with the outfits that he'd made, he'd asked them to make all the things that they wore, him and Dale Evans, on their popular television show, The Roy Rogers Show. And Roy was even buried in a Nudie suit. By the 1960s, his colorful suits were part of country music establishment. Nearly every major star on the Grand Ole Opry had at least one of his suits. In '63, he moved the store to a larger North Hollywood location on Lankershim Boulevard. The same year, after attending his wife's church for decades, he converted to Christianity, much to the dismay of his Jewish family. Country music singer Porter Wagoner was one of Cohen's biggest customers, usually shelling out between $11,000 to $18,000 for his custom suits. He owned over 52 Nudie suits, including the fanciful powdered blue number embroidered with Conestoga wagons, Winchester rifles, which now lives in the Country Music's Hall of Fame costume collection. One of his most famous works was a $10,000 gold lame suit he created for Elvis. The King wore it on the cover of his 1959 album. 50,000 Elvis fans can't be wrong. The suit's now worth about $250,000, and we're going to see that in a minute. He was legendary by the end of the decade, and he even translated his products into other things like custom cars, and he tricked out Cadillacs, Pontiac Bonnevilles into Nudie Mobiles with Texas Longhorns on the hood, leather interiors embroidered with wagon wheels and saddles instead of a children's car seat. He decorated saddles for his beloved horses he loved to ride. He made hats for clients that included the whole cast of the Andy Griffith Show. He was locally famous by driving around Hollywood in a white Eldorado convertible equipped with 18 pistols and 1,265 silver dollars. He was an avid mandolin player and would have in-store jam sessions, and people like Marty Robbins, Tex Williams, and Glenn Campbell and Roy Rogers would stop by. He was kind of younger, wayward clients, people like Graham Parsons. He even bailed Graham out of jail a few times. He took him under his wing as his son, and Graham looked up to him like a father. When in town, people like Johnny Cash would come by, and they'd discuss their love of leather tooling. Another frequent visitor was Tony Curtis, another poor Jewish kid who had reinvented himself in Hollywood. The Nudie suit was introduced to a whole new generation in '69 when Graham Parsons and his band, the Flying Burrito Brothers, donned the suits on the cover of their album. The album picked up where Parsons left off as a member of the Byrds on their groundbreaking fusion, rock, and country music, Sweethearts of the Rodeo. Today, Gilded Palace is cited as one of the most important records of the subgenre. Critics have dubbed it alt-country. Elvis Costello, Steve Earle, and Beck have all named the record as a major influence, and a few years after its release, the Eagles sold millions of albums using the template created by Parsons and his contemporaries. But as iconic as the tracks are on the album, the images of the singers decked out in white nudie suits made out in rhinestones is what remains most closely associated with Parsons' name. Parsons influenced his friend Keith Richards in a most noticeable way on the Rolling Stones' 1972 masterpiece, Exile on Main Street. But a year after the record was released, Graham Parsons died at 26 from an overdose of morphine and alcohol. As a tribute to his friend, Richards donned a custom nudie suit for numerous shows during the Rolling Stones' 1973 European tour. In 2010, the suit sold at auction for $21,000. Nudie Cohn died in 1984 at 81, but his suits inspired by his signature style are still worn by rock stars today. For 30 years, Nudie's rodeo tailors in North Hollywood enjoyed a steady stream of superstar customers. 2 Broncos served as beacons on the rooftop, and a life-size horse stood on guard on the sidewalk at the front shop. On Cohen's death, actress, singer, and songwriter Dale Evans, the wife of Roy Rogers, one of Cohen's closest friends, delivered the eulogy. He's buried at Hollywood Forest Lawn Memorial Park in one of his signature suits and his mismatched boots that he always wore to remind him of his humble origins in Eastern Europe when his family couldn't afford to buy shoes. We're going to go ahead and head into Nudie's Honky-tonk. I want you guys to see it. If you ever want to go there, it's on 409 Broadway in downtown Nashville on the main strip. But this shirt is Mickey Rooney's shirt. And I apologize for the jumping around, but I was just so excited. There's one of Nudie's cars, and we're going to take a closer look at that in just a minute. But the band was playing. It was about 10 o'clock in the morning. It was really loud. I've had to block it because of copyright issues. I don't know how other YouTubers get away with it, but I never do. I get strikes. So this incredible shirt is the great Hank Williams. I don't know where they got it, but it's in there. It's in there. There's a lot of his costumes in the Country Music Hall of Fame, but I said we couldn't film in there. This is Merle Travis's. Merle was a member of the Songwriter and the Country Music Hall of Fame. One of his shirts is in there. This is Graham Parsons' shirt. The great Graham Parsons. And this suit is a gentleman by the name of Skull Schulman. He opened the Rainbow Room in Nashville in 1948, and he was found murdered in there in 1998. They did catch the 2 killers who are still in jail for that. This is another one of Merle Travis's outfits. And we're going to head upstairs in a minute because there's other iconic outfits up there. There's a picture of Nudie. I just flew by it. But got a couple horses up there and riders. This is the front of the bar looking as you come in. They're so funny. They said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Charlotte, North Carolina." Even though I'm living in West Virginia. I guess when you live somewhere so long, you feel like you still live there. But anyway, So we're going to head upstairs in just a minute. I had to go back because I was just so excited and had to look at Hank Williams' shirt again. So that's why we're headed back here. But that's it. Sorry for the glare. Back to Mickey Rooney. I don't know what he wore that in. But, okay, we're going to head upstairs, and the first thing we see is a picture of Nudie and Elvis. Kind of like a lit up sign here that talks about that, their friendship, and the gold lame suit that we had talked about a little bit earlier. And incredibly, it is right here on the wall. Worth about $250,000. It's amazing. So glad they've saved these things. And also they have a couple gold records right here. The first one, this is Ronnie Millsap, and a gold record of his. And the next one is Johnny Paycheck. Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. That was really one of his most famous songs. Okay, the first one upstairs you're going to see, other than Elvis, is Tex Williams. He was a Western swing musician. And then there's another one here of Merle Travis. It's just so intricate. I guess these are ducks. We'll kind of zoom in and see what we can see. Yeah, they're ducks. The next one is Hank Snow, and Hank charted 51 singles, and he is also in the Country Music Hall of Fame. This one is Whisperin' Bill Anderson, songwriter, Country Music Hall of Fame also. He had like 21 hits, charted over 100 hits. And this one just said Nudie Suit, so I don't know if that just maybe belonged to Nudie. It just said Nudie Suit. And this, we're upstairs and we're going to take a look a little bit closer at Nudie's car. And you can see the guns on the back. It's just incredible. I don't know how they have it up there. They said it was insured for $400,000. Probably because it could fall on the band. But look at the shotguns. Look at the seats. He's got guns on the front. That thing has to weigh tons up there. It's just incredible. Okay, we're back downstairs and we're going to take a real quick look. This is a picture of Nudie back behind the band. This is a picture of him. It says, "In Nudie we trust." And then this is the El Dorado that's up above them. Sorry for the in and out. We're going to head outside. I loved it. I hope you guys loved it as much as I did. You need to come here. It's just incredible. Again, it's on 409 Broadway in the main drag in Nashville. But you know, Bobby, his wife, kept the North Hollywood store open for about 10 years. But she had to close it in 1994, and she's buried with him at Forest Lawn. And you know, a lot of performers can claim a measure of credit for giving country music its sound, but it's Nudie who can claim the lion's share of giving country music its look. And his granddaughter, whose name is Jamie Nudie, she was a Jamie Cohen, of course, but she changed it to Jamie Nudie. She had opened a coffee shop, but it's since closed. But you can, I'm going to put the website. You can go to the website and just look at history, pictures, where a lot of the suits are now, and you can buy things. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I hope you have a blessed day. God loves you. Thank you for watching. Please, if you like it, please like it and subscribe and share it with friends. So until I see you again, bye.